Hello and welcome to the Erin Wilson Show. This is a space for the visionary woman, creative, and founder, or just the woman craving more from her life, more beauty, joy, depth, presence, creativity, just being on the cusp of a deep transformation, a growth edge, and on the next edge of your evolution. And for the woman who seeks to come home to herself and design a life she truly loves, become the creative CEO of her own life, which means truly having agency and authority over her life, how she spends her time, how she earns her money, and all of those good things. So, this is important to me because this is the journey that I'm walking on, that I've been walking on, and I'm finally coming to a place of being able to name these things, name the transformation I've been moving through, and it's all starting to take shape into something bigger and more magical than I ever could have imagined, and I'm so grateful to myself for embracing the unconventional path that I've chosen to take. I made a post on my Erin Rachel Wilson Instagram today about the messy middle. I know this is a kind of becoming a trendy phrase. What it means for me right now, what it looks like, is really leaning into trusting the process before the evidence is fully appearing. Of course, I have little bits of evidence appearing, but the major financial and visibility breakthroughs that I know are coming have not arrived. And so I am being faced with sitting in the in between of who I used to be, who I have declared I am and that I'm becoming. And I feel kind of naked and yet invisible at the same time. So it's kind of an interesting paradox. And there's so much uncertainty and honestly confusion around, am I spending my time and energy on the right things? And I am really trying to just navigate everything intuitively. And intuition is really a foundational guide for me in navigating my life and my business. And it's something that I also teach other people how to reconnect with and embrace. And even with that, it can become confusing because it's like, well, I'm doing everything my intuition is telling me to do, and yet I'm not seeing the numbers, I'm not seeing the results. And again, I really feel in my gut that it's coming, and there's a part of me that wonders, am I doing something wrong? Am I not checking off all these boxes? And I really feel that what I'm being challenged to do right now is A, like I said, trust the process, but also to really untangle myself from perfectionism, from having the results come from a place of hard effort and sacrifice. And it's ironic because what I'm really trying to show people and myself is that it doesn't have to be that way anymore, that that's a way of the past, that building a business and a life that you love can be done through softness, through play, intuition, slowing down, being present, and all of these things that are a part of the feminine frequency that I feel we're all so lacking in. Our world has become so masculine dominated, and not in the sense of man versus woman. It's so much more than gender, because we all have masculine and feminine within us. It's really the energies that are associated with those frequencies. So with masculine, it's logic, rationality, structure, strategy, all those things. And then with the feminine frequency, it is that intuition, softness, being overdoing, slowing down, and making progress through less effort. And this is the way of life that I am trying to move into. And even in saying that I'm trying to move into it, it's kind of um, an oxymoron because with the feminine frequency, it's not trying, it's just receiving. And so this feels like the final piece of the puzzle that needs to click into place for me before the evidence, the abundance, the all the things that I'm trying to manifest for them to really emerge. And it's incredibly difficult because of how much we're conditioned for output, productivity. Things need to be hard, they need to take time, um, and burnout and all of those things. And I know that so many of you can relate to that and that you're probably working through similar themes and challenges as me right now. And I just want to read something that ChatGPT said to me today. There can be an unconscious fear that people will tolerate our success more readily when they can see how hard we worked for it. Martyrdom gives success an explanation. Look how much I sacrificed. Joy doesn't. Joy simply says, I allowed myself to have this. And this is all a part of what I'm working through right now. I just had a really good conversation with my best friend of 20 years. So we've really seen each other evolve and transform over and over again. Because, of course, from childhood into and now our 30s, we're going to be doing a lot of transformation and really finding ourselves. And I had some insecurities come up recently, not to do with her or really anyone in my life. It's really all come from a place of insecurity within myself, a fear around if I really embrace who I am and who I'm becoming, am I going to scare people away? Am I going to make them think that I've lost my marbles? And making peace with the idea that maybe some of those people, it will become too much and they will have to take a step back. That may be true, but the people that I'm closest to in my life, they've seen me through all of these evolutions already. And each time I become more courageous and more vulnerable and more true to myself, even when it scares me. And they're still there. And again, anyone who ultimately can't stick around, that's okay. It's hard, of course, to come to terms with that. But again, it's all a theoretical thing that's kind of popping up in my mind. There's no evidence of that yet, of anyone distancing themselves or being offended or anything. All the crazy things are all the stories that our minds come up with. And so I had these insecurities come up. We had a really good conversation about it today where it was kind of like through my insecurities coming up, um, I was keeping myself in a box of who I was 10, 15, 20 years ago. But by doing that, I was also keeping her stuck in that version of herself. And there's a reason why we are no longer those versions. And while we were beautiful people then, we're even more authentically ourselves now. We've done so much inner work to arrive at who we are now. And she brought something really interesting to my attention where she's like, I know that your posts are like your content is changing online. And it kind of seems like you've had this big revelation, but you're saying it, but you're not really saying it. And I thought that was really interesting to hear because I can understand how she felt that because it does kind of feel like I'm every time I share and put something out there, it does feel like I'm giving a little bit more of myself each and every time. But by not fully going for it, I am diluting my essence. I am holding back what I'm really trying to say. And while a little bit of mystery can be good, I think it may be a little too much. And again, it's all just that fear of incongruence or perceived incongruence between who I was then and who I am now, but I am absolutely a different person than who I was. I feel like my values and my morals and my essence are intact, but how I actually define myself and my desires that I have, what I'm trying to build, that's all really shifted significantly. And it's a challenging process. And if you're kind of in this messy middle or in between right now, just know that you're not alone. For me right now, it's again trusting that process and being challenged by I know that what I'm building is $1 million idea. It's $1 million business or more. And yet, financially, it's a bit tough right now. And I know that it's temporary. I know that I'm ultimately okay and it's going to be okay. And I have an amazing support system and savings and things like that. And I feel really in my intuition that it's hanging on a little bit longer, continuing to follow my intuition, continuing to follow my inspiration and my curiosity, my desires, and to trust that those are leading me where I'm meant to be. And it's so challenging because it goes so against what we're taught, which is to it's a different kind of building a foundation. It's a very different foundation to build. I don't want to build a foundation of just going out and filling this empty space with something that brings in money right away, but isn't ultimately aligned and takes my energy away from what I really feel called to build. Instead, I want to build a foundation on rest, curiosity, following intuitive impulses, and building something that's deeply meaningful to me and really feels like my mission over supporting someone else's mission. And there's nothing wrong with, going out and getting a full-time job. And that works really well for a lot of people. And that just hasn't been the case for me. I've never been able to work for very long for other people. And it's so clear to me that I'm meant to make my own way and take a more unconventional path. And while it does come with its challenges, I'm so glad that that's what I chose because I know in my heart it's going to pay off. And in the meantime, it's just going deeper and deeper within myself, seeing what's behind these fears and insecurities and the uncertainty that arise in that process of incubation almost. Like it feels like I'm in the oven baking right now and I'm looking at my watch, waiting for the timer to go off. And it's really not a process that can be rushed. It's all in divine timing. And I know that I am valuable just by being me. And while I know that in my heart, my logical brain, that masculine energy, comes in to say, but is that true? Right? The logic and rationality and looking for the concrete evidence comes in to interrupt that process because that's the way it's been for so long, for centuries or more, arguably, that's been the way that we operate as humans is we want the proof, we want the evidence. Intuition is a whimsical, it's a nice idea, but it's not really how you can lead your life. But this is what I want to show people that you can. And when I get to the other side of this spaciousness where things inevitably pick up, things inevitably click into place and start making sense and start flowing, I will have the opportunity to say, I really stuck with what I'm trying to teach. I really went through it. I worked through the uncertainty. I worked through the darkness and the fears that came up. And I followed my intuition. I followed my inspiration and what lit me up. And now here's what I have to show for it. And here's how you can do it too. And so I can understand, even logically and rationally, how I would have to go through that process to be an authority to speak on how others can do it as well, right? Doesn't mean it's not hard, doesn't mean it's not uncomfortable, and that my ego and my human brain aren't getting in the way and pouting and getting upset and saying, "Oh, but we need more of this. It needs to look this way. We need to have this evidence." And this is the messy middle, and this is my version of it. I would love to hear what your version of it is right now if you're in an in-between phase of life or chapter. In future episodes, I also am going to open up a lot more about some of these deeper transformations I've been going through, things that have been coming up that I've been experiencing, and how that's leading to my big vision and my mission that I am building. I have also been sharing more about that on my Substack. It's called The Pollen Path. You can find me there at Sacral Rose. I'll put the link in the episode description. I would love to have you follow along on there where I share more vulnerably, openly, and even poetically about how my journey's unfolding and things that I'm working through. And I'll put links to where else you can follow me as well. But I hope that no matter what your messy middle looks like right now, that you stay true to yourself, stay true to your intuition. You're probably, if you're doing those things, on the right track. And divine timing will unfold exactly the way it's meant to. And I'm just so grateful to be walking this path with you. So, thank you.